The previous Raindrops episode showed what choices can be made as the player levels up through the class attribute tree and the modular memory board. I gave examples of how primitive and generic stats such as health and attack damage are advanced using these tools. In this episode, I want to focus more on the character defining and exclusive powers that can be obtained through these means, the kind of options that really lock in what kind of hero you are building. A good comparison are keynodes on the Path of Exile skill tree. If I plan to make a character that takes the Chaos Inoculation keystone, my stat priorities are majorly complicated. Bonuses to maximum life no longer grant me any benefit, and maximum energy shield bonuses are now significantly more desirable, since it is the only effective health pool that I can develop. In return for undertaking such a complicated penalty, my character is now completely immune to chaos damage. Fantasy Reign presents these hero-defining powers as binary stats. They are called binary because in essence they are either on or off. In the currently unreleased demo version, there are upwards of 10 binary stats available from all kinds of sources, such as the memory board, unique items, and the skill tree system I discussed in episode 1. Let's take a look at a few of these. Enchanted reads as follows: elemental damage times 1.1, chance to trigger elemental effects times 3, can no longer deal critical hits. This ideally is the go-to for elemental casters relying on scaling ailments such as Ignite or Static for their primary source of damage. This ideally is the go-to for elemental casters relying on scaling ailments such as Ignite or Static for their primary source of damage, as this binary stat allows for realistically achieving a guaranteed chance to trigger elemental ailment effects, at the cost of any chance of critically striking. It's worth noting that the elemental damage multiplier of times 1.1 isn't exclusive to attacks, meaning both an elemental hit as well as the elemental ailment that follows will both benefit. Brutalism reads as follows: attack steal times 1.3 damage, elemental effects no longer trigger, critical chance times 0.5. On the flip side, Brutalism benefits attack-based characters that aren't looking to specialize in critical strikes. An attack multiplier of times 1.3 is no joke. The big penalty here is the loss of the elemental effects entirely. There are a few nuances to Brutalism that present some interesting choice. For starters, critical strikes are still possible, meaning that the bonus effects that trigger on critically striking can still be utilized. Additionally, perhaps with very powerful gear and levels, the penalty of critical strikes could be overcome to maximize the amount of multipliers in play. Also, it's worth noting that this keystone has no impact on the effects of poisons or bleeds. It is only elemental effects that no longer trigger. At face value, it seems these two binaries would be opposite. However, both Enchanted and Brutalism grant benefits for elemental attacks that do not rely on critical strikes or elemental ailments, so perhaps there's a little niche there worth exploring. The final example binary is the one that Path of Exile players should be pretty familiar with. Proliferate causes elemental ailments to spread to nearby enemies. Obviously pairs nicely with Enchanted for heroes that need extra help with clearing packs of enemies. The final characteristic of binary stats, and a point that makes them slightly differ from the identity of keynodes in Path of Exile, is that binary stats can gain levels from the same pool of sources that can grant them in the first place, such as unique items, the memory board, and bonuses from the skill tree. Granting levels to binary stats empowers certain aspects of the binary bonus. Binary stats all have a level between 1 and 10. Let's take a look at the effects of granting bonus levels to the binaries that we talked about. Enchanted and Brutalism simply grant larger damage multipliers. Proliferate gains a multiplier to ailment damage as it levels up. At the default level of 1, there is no bonus, so I neglected mentioning this before. Additionally, Proliferate gains a bonus to the area size of the Proliferate effect itself. When a binary stat is gained, it is always gained with a distinct level. If there are two or more sources of the same binary stat, the one giving the larger base level is used and the other source is ignored. The ignored source will not grant any kind of benefit. For instance, the levels are not added together. If I have a source that reads gain enchanted level 2 and another that reads gain enchanted level 4, all things equal, my enchanted level is 4. Only the larger source is taken. Binary level bonuses on the other hand do add together, so multiple sources of binary levels work together. However, binary level bonuses by themselves do not grant the skill. The levels will be entirely ignored if you have no source of the base stat. The final level of a binary stat is calculated as the highest base level plus the sum of all the bonuses to the level. This value cannot exceed 10 or be reduced lower than 1. Thank you for watching this episode of Raindrops. Ooh. Subscribe to the channel. The previous Raindrop episode... Oh my god, I cannot hit the S. You just got it. It's Raindrops. Drops. Bonuses to maximum life no longer grant me any benefit